Hi, welcome back to our podcast, Books Don't Review Themselves. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kim.
And today, we've been calling it a reading roundup, but it's more than that because we're going to talk about
a media roundup.
Yeah, a media roundup, essentially, because we're going to be talking about books and movies, TV. Maybe some Netflix stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
Should we start out with books we've been reading that we've been enjoying or not enjoying, whatever we want to share?
Sure.
I'll start with, there's a book series by Margaret Evans, and it's the Second Treasures Mystery Series. It's technically a cozy mystery, but it doesn't follow all the rules, and I have that in finger quotes, of a cozy mystery. This is book 5 that I just read, Deadly Cost of Goods, and I know I've mentioned this series before. It's one that I've really enjoyed. Like I said, it's not a typical cozy. It's not always a super fast book. I mean, to me, it keeps me interested to keep going, and I enjoy meeting the characters again every book. But what I really, really love about this series is that she has her, main mystery for each book that gets resolved by the end of the book. But it also has like 3, 4, 5 other mysteries that have started either from book 1 or book 3 or whatever, and that are continuing through the books. I believe there's only one more book in this series, book 6. I don't know the title of it. And then it'll be done. So I'm super excited to read book 6 to find out what's going to happen finally. But like I said, I do highly recommend this one, but going into it, it's not a typical cozy, but it's still really, really good. What about you?
Okay. So I think I've already talked about The Whisper Man by Alex North.
So is that one, I thought 4 stars, if I remember right?
Yeah, I think I gave it like 4 stars because it was good, but it wasn't the hype and the anticipation that I had to get this book. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like it lived up to that. I did listen to 3 Women by Lisa Taddeo. This was...
I think you mentioned that one before. You hadn't finished it yet.
Yeah. I'm just going to read the quick synopsis about what it is. Lena, a homemaker in suburban India, is a decade into a passionless marriage when she embarks on an affair that quickly becomes all-consuming and transforms her life. Sloan, a glamorous entrepreneur in the Northeast, is married to a man who likes to watch her have sex with other men and women. Maggie, a high school student in North Dakota, begins a relationship with her English teacher that will have extraordinary consequences from them both, as well as the community in which they live. For nearly a decade, Lisa Taddeo embedded herself with 3 everyday women to write these deeply immersive account of their erotic lives and longings. The result, shocking, powerful, and timely. My understanding is they're based on a true story. Basically, she followed these women for this book. It was an interesting book. I saw a lot of people rave about it. I saw that I think it did pretty well on like New York Times bestsellers and that kind of stuff.
And that could be too, sometimes those books, I think just because there's something different, people are like, best thing in the world, when it may not necessarily.
Right. And I would say it's interesting and I enjoyed it and I listened to it because most of these books I listened to. But had I not listened to it, I don't know that I would have been as interested because they had different narrators for each person. And so to me, that just adds something to the book. And sometimes I feel like it makes or breaks the book, in my opinion. And so if I had just purchased this book to sit down and read, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much. Right now on Scribe, it's 4 stars. And I probably would give it 3 stars. Because like I said, I don't have anything about it I don't like. It's just it was a different read for me.
So after reading this, were you like, hey Josh, you want to watch me and some other person have sex?
No.
Okay.
The other book that I listened to, and I have been wanting to listen to this book for a really long time, and I was super pumped that I did, and it's actually really, 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 really good, and I think it was voted like best thriller in 2018
What is this?
18 or 19. So the book, drum roll, is called The Silent Patient.
I keep seeing that all over Instagram everywhere.
By Alex Michaelides. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm sorry, Alex. Do you want me to read the synopsis?
Sure, why not?
I'll read the synopsis. The Silent Patient is a shocking psychological thriller of a woman's act of violence against her husband and of the therapist obsessed with uncovering her motive. Alicia Berenson's life is seemingly perfect, a famous painter married to an in-demand fashion photographer. She lives in a grand house with big windows overlooking a park in one of London's most desirable areas. One evening, her husband, Gabriel, returns home late from a fashion shoot, and Alicia shoots him 5 times in the face and then never speaks another word. Awesome. Alicia's refusal to talk or give any kind of explanation turns a domestic tragedy into something far grander, a mystery that captures the public imagination and casts Alicia into notoriety. The price of her art skyrockets, and she, the silent patient, is hidden away from the tabloids and spotlight at the Grove, a secure forensic unit in North London. Theo Faber is a criminal psychotherapist who has waited a long time for the opportunity to work with Alicia. His determination to get her to talk and unravel the mystery of why she shot her husband takes him down a twisting path into his own motivations, a search for the truth that threatens to consume him. This book, as I read this, I was like, wait, how did it end? And as I was reading it, I'm like, holy fucking shit. Yeah, I remember that's how it ended. It's really good. It's really, 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 really good. I would give this book 5 stars. It's so fucked up.
Yeah, okay.
But not fucked up in the sense of, like, I don't think it's off-putting to anyone. It wasn't like there was, like, sodomy or, like...
bestiality.
Yeah, like, there wasn't anything that was like that. But it's just, like, the psychological thriller part of this was so good. So good.
Like, I want to ask, I'll ask you afterwards, because I want to be like, so was she abused by him, or was it he having an affair? You know, because if it's one of those two things, and that's the reason why she killed him, I feel like I would be a little disappointed. I'd be like, that's so typical. See,
and you would think. But it's the twist.
Okay. If I read this, it better be worth it. I know where you live.
Well, and I might just tell you the twist after.
Okay, tell us after.
Yes.
Or tell me after.
Right. But, guys, it is really good. And so all the accolades and things that people are saying is true. It is really good. And I was like, it sounded good to me. Like, reading the synopsis, it sounded really good to me. But I'm like, yeah, we'll see how they do it. And it was really good. And I remember, like... And again, I don't remember when I listened to this, but throughout kind of the beginning, I wasn't really sure. Like, it's easy to follow, and I listened to it, so that helped. But I wasn't sure, like, you know when you read a thriller and you're like, okay, what turn is this going to take? Yeah. What road is this going to go down? Yeah. I wasn't sure really where this was going.
That's
because
good.
A lot of the first part of the book is that this Theo, is that what I said his name was? Wanted to go work at the Grove because he was just fascinated with Alicia and her story.
Now, was he fascinated, besides with her and her story, was he also fascinated with her art? Did he, like, know about her before, like, with her art, or no?
I think he knew about her art a little bit, but he was more fascinated because of him being a therapist, of the fact that because she was nonverbal. And so he was, like, fascinated by that, and, like, I think the therapist in him was like, I'm going to get her to talk. Like, I'm going to be the one to get her to talk.
Yeah.
So good.
I guess after you tell me the twist, I'll see if I want to read it. I feel like I should, though. I feel like I should read it before you tell me the twist, you know?
Well, and like I said, it's getting a lot of awards.
And for you to say that after all the thrillers you've been reading lately that have been letdowns, that's good.
Right.
You know, I feel...
And I think, and the best part of it is there was nothing in it that was, like...
so shocking.
Right. There was nothing about it of what happened or what the twist that was just, like, I think it goes to show that
if you're a good writer,
have a good thriller, if you're a good writer, you don't need, like,
crazy out there
crazy shit. Fucking thing, like, you know what I mean? Like, she found her husband fucking a cow. Like, you don't need, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need something just overly crazy.
I don't know. I would just stop and be like, what?
Right. But, and, like, that also would be thrilling, maybe, kind of, to, like, all of it, like, that just be put in the middle of a book and be like, what the hell? But, the best part of The Silent Patient was that there wasn't like a big like
crazy, yeah,
like wow, that is really fucked up. I mean, there is stuff that's fucked up, but
Mhm.
it's like it's that mind game.
I feel like someone having sex with a cow would be a book Scott would be reading. I could
for
see it in
sure.
his pile of
For
books.
sure. And it probably would be written by like that Carlton Mellick
the third. Yeah. So Carlton Mellick the third got a book idea for you. Yeah.
Do you have another book you want to discuss?
Another one that I have is Mulberry Mischief by Sharon Farrow. You can see the cover. I don't know which way I'm pointing it. There we go. This is book 4 in a Berry Basket Mystery series. I won it in some contest or giveaway or something. The reason why I enjoyed this so much is I did not know who the killer was. And I didn't know who the killer was because there was so many evil, mean, nasty people in this book that it could have been any one of them. Which, to me...
It's kind of funny for a cozy.
Exactly! That's why I loved it, because in cozies, you have so many sweet people. And there were sweet people in here. There were. But there are also so many nasty people that I'm just like, this is wonderful. It's like a different thing to be reading in a cozy. And then plus it's a Halloween one, which Halloween's my favorite season. So I was very excited about that. So yeah, this is the only book in the series that I've read. It was easy enough being book 4, with the other characters you weren't like, who is this person? What's their backstory? She gave enough backstory, early on that you knew. I would say if you haven't read any of them, start with book 1. Me personally, since there are so many books in the world to read, I don't think I would go to book 1, but I would be up to reading, future books by her, definitely. Yeah, so Mulberry Mischief, highly recommend. This was very, very good. Very exciting. Another one that I have really quick is Cover of Darkness. It's a graphic novel. Can you see? There's like a giant bright light on it. One of the writers is George Michael, and that just makes me laugh because George Michael, I love that name. The other writer is Chris Cam. If you want to follow George Michael, he's at Comic Book George on Instagram. It's comic_book_George. I'm following him, and he's very enjoyable. The art is done by MJ Hiblin, and the lettering is done by Nikki Powers. So if you don't read graphic novels, you're like, seriously, someone gets paid to letter a graphic novel? That means, they're putting the words in those little bubbles. That is a job, and people get paid for that. Isn't that like, that's still, I've known this since I started reading graphic novels, but it still boggles my mind. Now, you wouldn't think, you're like lettering. Come on, how hard is that to do? It's hard, and you have to have, like, good skills and, like, thought process behind it, because this book, just to rate it really quick, I still have to write a review and everything, I'd give it 4 out of 5. And the reason I'm not giving it a 5, I really enjoyed the story. And the story is basically, it's a bunch of classic creatures, like vampire, mummy, Frankenstein, that kind of stuff. But it's basically a family that gets torn apart by creatures for various reasons, and they have to come find each other again. So it's a basic story. It's been told many, many times, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. Now, the reason I'm not giving it a perfect 5, one of the reasons is because of the lettering. She does a really good job, but sometimes, and it's not only the lettering, but it's the way that the book is laid out. When you have, like, some of the stuff that's really close to the crease, it's difficult to read. And so that was one thing, I'd be, like, reading, and I'd be like, and it could just be because I'm old. I mean, that's a thing, too. But it was difficult to read at times, so that was not the best. And the other thing, too, is the artwork. While most of it is lovely and enjoyable, there's some pictures that are just so dark that, like, I couldn't see them, and it was really hard to make out.
Or the detail.
The detail of it. And to me, I didn't enjoy that. I like my artwork cleaner. I mean, this is mostly clean, but able to see details. So I highly recommend this if you enjoy graphic novels, give this a chance. But those are the couple things that I saw that I didn't enjoy so much about it, but highly recommend. And you should follow Comic Book George on Instagram because he's very fun and enjoyable. And this is books 1 through 3, and then this is the cover for book 4. And for book 4, and I haven't read 4 yet, but I will soon. So yay. That's my other one. So what else you got over there?
There's this. So I kind of have to preface this with some background.
Cow fucking?
Not this time. When I was younger, my mom is a very big thrift shopper.
Ooh, I love thrift
she
shopping.
loves thrift shopping. She loves a good fucking deal. Like if I remember, she would like buy like a coat, and if she found $5 in that coat, it was like she won the fucking lottery. You know, it was just hilarious. And again, my mom is from Brazil, so like just having all these like things easily accessible is a big deal. So I always navigated to the books typically. I would pick books based off of like what the cover looked like and not really knowing anything about it. As I gotten older, I just had like all these different books that it's like, oh, I think I kind of heard of this author and, you know, whatever. So I had gotten a book by John Verdon, and the reason I bought the book was the cover looked cool. It was like an ARC copy of the book. And at that time, I did not know what that meant. Okay. So I'm like, oh my God, this is from a book that's not even out yet. Like, this has got to be worth some money. You know, I was so stupid. And mind you, I was probably like 11. So it's called Think of a Number by John Verdon. Had it for years, didn't read it, whatever. And finally, I was kind of going through some of my books, and I was like, oh, you know, I had never read this. Well, I ended up listening to the audiobook. So I listened.
So you have the book that you've had for years and purchased. And then you purchased the audiobook.
I didn't purchase the audiobook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I listened to the audiobook and I liked it. Now, the thing about it is it's about a detective, Dave Gurney. And he's a retired top New York detective. Would I say that it's going to be thrilling like The Silent Patient? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes, I still enjoyed it. But it's not, I didn't find them super fast paced or like, to me, it was like watching almost like a crime movie, you know, unfold.
So police procedural.
Right. Let me just see here. So with that said, he had the Think of the Number, which ended up being the first of a series. Okay. So I have listened to Think of a Number, Shut Your Eyes Tight, Let the Devil Sleep, Peter Pan Must Die, and then Wolf Lake is the most recent. And I think he either has a newer one that came out or that's coming out. That's still part of the series. Now, they're not the only intertwinedness of them is there might be some mention to like a previous book, like Dave, you always get yourself, you know, type thing. But it's the same couple detectives and his wife and whatever. But the rest of the characters are pretty much different throughout each book. So I listened to Wolf Lake. People gave it 4 stars on here. I felt out of all of them, this one didn't entice me as much.
And is that the most recent one then?
Yes, it's the most recent one. I still listened to it and completed it, but I probably would give it a 3 because I'm kind of indifferent to it. Like, it wasn't bad. It just, out of the other ones I listened to, it wasn't as
good.
Yeah. And I found myself listening to it, like The Silent Patient, for example. I had downloaded The Silent Patient, and I still had this downloaded, and I was finding myself like going to The Silent Patient more than I was going to this. So I would kind of listen to bits and pieces of this in between other books, or if I needed a break, I was listening to this. Where most of the time, if I really, really like something, I will strictly listen to it. So I think it's a good series. I would recommend you start with book 1 just so you have some of the background of Dave Gurney. But I don't know that it's necessary. Like, I don't think you would be completely lost if there might be a few things here or there that you'd be like, wait, what is that? And it kind of is reference to a previous book. But that's kind of my take on that. And I started listening to Mindhunter inside the FBI's elite serial killer crime unit, or serial crime unit, sorry. That is a series on Netflix. I believe this book was written based off of the Netflix series. Don't quote me on that. I'm at 34%. And I've had it for a few months.
It's not that good.
It's good, but I have to be in the mood for it. Okay. You know.
So have you watched the Netflix series?
I started to a little bit, but I was doing other stuff, and
You just weren't getting into it. It's a slow series.
Yeah.
It's really good. I watched both season 1 and 2.
And that's what I've heard.
It's very good, but it's slow.
Yeah.
It's not like wham, bam, oh my God, this is fast-paced and insane. It's
slow.
It chugs.
The other book that I listened to that I was pretty excited was by Lisa Unger. It's her latest book that came out September 17th of this year, 2019, called The Stranger Inside.
Should be The Stranger Inside Me. Anyway, continue.
I think I read this or listened to this book in like a few days.
So it was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. And like, for whatever reason, like when I think back on it, I was like, yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
But it had my attention for me to listen to it that quickly. I don't know that I would say, I feel like The Silent Patient is more of a thriller.
Okay.
I would say this one is kind of almost a suspense.
Usually, I was going to say suspense if it's not thrilling. And if it's a woman in peril.
There's some parts that are kind of like thrilling or like you kind of want to like get, read faster. To know what happens. Mm-hmm. But there was a twist. Mm-hmm. There was a twist. Did I think it was as big of a twist as like The Silent Patient? No. Mm-hmm. But did I still enjoy it? Yes. Okay. So I would give this probably 4 to 5 stars. And I really liked her other books too. Like Ink and Bone. I
brought that one up.
Yep.
Scott did a review on that one. He gave that one 4 stars. And it looks like it's from a series called The Hollows. And it's book 5 in The Hollows.
And my problem with that is I think before I had Scribe, I just used the library app. And so you had to like wait for books and whatever. So if I had a couple books on hold, I would just kind of see what was available now. And I think that was one that was available. And I'm like, sounds good. And it was good. But I feel like you kind of want to start with book 1. I didn't realize it was. Oh, and I tried not to do that, but it was still good.
And that was the same thing Scott said. It was good, but he thought it would have been better if he would have started at the beginning of the series.
Yeah, and what else do you get?
My other one that I have, and I'm sure you're going to have this one as well, is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Yeah.
Don't talk about it.
I'm not going. Oh, you haven't finished it yet?
No.
Oh, for the love of God.
I said I haven't started it. I said we should do a separate podcast.
I thought you had said you had started. Okay.
No, I downloaded it.
Anyways, I won't say anything about it. I will say a little bit about it.
You can say a little bit.
I will. First of all, I'm going to say read it. I don't care if you don't like fantasy or supernatural or mysteries. Just go read it anyway, because you need to support this author because she's awesome. But if you do like fantasy, supernatural, or mysteries, you really, really, really need to read it. It reminded me, The Magicians by Leaves something, I think is his name. It's also a TV show. I think there's 3 seasons so far of it. I read the first book, The Magicians. It was really good. I've watched all the TV series. I love it. It is so good. And there's another book that I was thinking it was similar to, but of course not. Right now I can't think of it. No, I can't think of it. Oh my God, I can't believe I couldn't think of it. Okay, so there are people who stalk authors all the time, and which is fine. Everyone needs a hobby. I am not one of those people. But I will say Dorinda Jones.
I've seen you mention her before.
Oh, dear God. She wrote the Charlie Davidson series because book 13 was the last book in the series. This author is the only author I would take off of work the day her book came out so I could read it that day. I loved that series so much. And Ninth House, in ways, reminded me of that series. So that between The Magicians and Charlie Davidson, those 2 series, which I really, really love, and then having the Ninth House reminded me of both of them. It's awesome. Another thing that I have to say really quick about Dorinda Jones is she has a new book coming out, I think maybe in February or April. It's a new series, and I believe the first book is called A Bad Day for Sunshine. I requested it on NetGalley, and I received it. I want to read it so bad, but I have other books I need to read first. And I mean, it's just driving me nuts. I'm like, damn it, I need to read faster because I need to get to this new series because I know it's going to be awesome too. So you need to check out Dorinda Jones's Charlie Davidson series And then I will also put down below A Bad Day for Sunshine, I believe is the title, and when that one comes out. And you need to check out those two. So Ninth House, Leigh Bardugo. Read it, love it. Even if you don't love it anyway. Give it 5 stars. Yes. Okay. Anything else?
I wanted to find, because my coworker is a big Leigh Bardugo fan, because she does typically YA.
Yeah.
So this is, I believe, her first adult book.
Mm-hmm.
And we should probably touch on the fact that it is pretty gruesome. I mean, I haven't read it, but...
Ninth House?
Yeah, like, I've seen a lot of,
Really?
Yeah, like, people saying that...
People are wusses. What is gruesome about this book?
Like, it's very dark.
Oh, yeah, which is fine. That's different than gruesome. To me, gruesome is like, chunks of people or something.
But I think this is not going to be for everybody.
No, but it should be.
And...
It's magic, it's supernatural, it's... Yeah.
Yeah, my
it's
coworker
awesome.
had found a review on Goodreads, and I haven't been able to find it because my coworker had read it and she loved it.
Oh, about ghost sex and stuff? Yeah.
No, it like kind of listed like, if you don't like blah, 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 stop here. If you're okay, move on to step 2. And the review was just hilarious, but I mean, it was praising the book. But yeah, I have heard that it is a very dark book, so if you're not into that.
I don't think it's dark, though. I mean,
We'll
and
see.
I read lots of dark stuff, but I don't know. I mean, there is a part, when you're talking before, the main character, she sees ghosts, and she is a warden. She's in the 9th house. There are 8 other houses of magic, and she's in this 9th house, and she's called a Dante, and she needs to go watch the other houses to make sure that they're not mismanaging magic or using it in bad ways or whatever. But like I said, she can see ghosts, which is really rare. The other people, when they want to see ghosts, they have to take this formula, and eventually this formula will end up killing you because like your kidneys will shut down and stuff. So obviously they don't want to take it that often. So to find a person who can actually see ghosts, it's like wonderful. And ghosts can also touch her. And there's like a rape scene early on. It happens, and it's horrible, but it's not that graphic, I didn't feel, compared to other rape scenes that have been written and that we've read. It's just kind of there. And to me too, sometimes they have gratuitous rape scenes in books, but this one I felt it helped advance the story. So I mean, to me, if, they're talking about that type of stuff, it happens once, but I don't know. I disagree!
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
The other book that I listened to that I know you also read was The Institute by Stephen King.
Yeah.
That came out September 2019.
I think you liked it more than I did. It was fine.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is I kind of wonder if it's because I listened to it.
It could be. Maybe it had more. And like I said, I liked most of it, but it had that old-timey wording to it. And every time I got to one of those sections, I stopped. It just stopped me in my tracks reading. And that, who wants to be jolted out of a story, I did not enjoy that. But the story itself was good. I mean, the premise of the story was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the story. I don't know what I would rate it. Probably like 3 or 4.
I'd give it 4 stars, even with the whole jolting out of the story, because, I mean, that's how Stephen King writes.
Right.
It's not like it's a new thing. It's not like he hasn't been writing like this, since the 60s or 70s or whatever. But I don't know. In this book, it just really stood out to me, and I couldn't get over it. But
yeah, I did enjoy it. The thing for me was that I was like, I kept thinking about like how this could be a thing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what makes his story so scary, is because so many of them...
He touches on things that it's like, could this be real?
Exactly.
And if someone is like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Conspiracy theorist. They are going to go off the deep end if they read this book. Oh, I'm listening to right now, I downloaded The Shining. I have not read that book.
Have you seen the movie?
No.
Oh my God. For you people listening to this podcast, you cannot see my face right now. This is ridiculous.
And I'm also listening to The Nanny by Gilly McMillian. I'm about 42% through that book, and so far I like it, but I have a feeling it's
not going to be awesome.
Well,
is that her newest one?
Yes, it's her newest one, and it says I'm at 42%. It says I have 6 hours left. So that leads me to believe that there's probably some big twists and stuff coming. So right now I'm at like a 3 because like it's good, but I know there's going to be more coming. I'm kind of at that halfway point, I feel like.
I have a couple books that I haven't read yet, but I'm excited about them. The first one we're going to do is Penne Dreadful by Catherine Bruns. I think I said Bruns when I did a post about her before, but I think it's Bruns. It's a new book, the first book in a series. It is an Italian chef mystery. I haven't started yet, like I said, but I keep seeing really good reviews and positive comments about it online. So this one hopefully is good. And she also has another series. It is what is it? It is the Cookies and Chance series. She has 8 books out. Her latest one is Ginger Snapped to Death. It's a Christmas one. So as with any series, I mean, start it at the beginning if you can. If not, if you're in the mood for a Christmas cozy, Ginger Snapped to Death might be a good one to check out. Another book is As Good a Dead by Avery Ames. This is a pen name. Her actual name is Dara Wood Gerber. This one I started. I'm partially through a little bit. But I'm really enjoying it because it takes place in Ohio, which is in the Midwest. So people are like Wisconsin people, which is always fun. And it's also the main person owns a cheese shop, and we love cheese.
I have a newfound love of Gouda, actually.
Oh, Gouda's good, especially smoked Gouda. Oh my God. But besides owning a cheese shop, she also has a wine cave down in the basement of the cheese shop. So come on, cheese, wine, Midwest. It's like she wrote this book for me. This is which one is it? It's not the first book in the series. I think it's maybe book 5 in the series. I haven't read the previous ones, but I'm enjoying what I've read of this one so far. And it's also taking place around Valentine's Day, which is, I mean, I guess I could have waited to read it till closer to Valentine's Day, but whatever, it's all good. And then, what else do I got? I got 1/2 more. We had talked with Deborah Senfelder before. She does the Resale Boutique Mystery Series.
I have that book saved.
Okay.
Inscribe. Yep.
And she also does the Food Blogger Mystery Series is the other one that she does.
Yes.
We read
3 Widows and a Corpse.
3 Widows and a Corpse.
But the first one, I believe, is The Hidden Corpse.
Or The Uninvited Corpse, I believe, is book 1.
Okay. Because there's the Uninvited Corpse, and then there's The Hidden Corpse. That's part of the Food Blogger series. And then the other series...
The Resale Boutique series.
Yes. And that is Murder Wears a Little Black Dress.
Silence in Sequence is book 2.
Yes.
And I think that one's coming out January of 2020. I'm excited about this series. I haven't started it yet. I'm going to get Murder Wears a Little Black Dress and read that soonish. So when Silence in Sequence comes out, I'll have had that read. But I went to NetGalley and I requested Silence in Sequence and I received it. So I have that one to read right away too. So I'll do a review on both of them, Murder Wears a Little Black Dress and Silence in Sequence. I don't know, maybe when we read the first one, if we'll do, a podcast on it or not. So I'm excited about that series as well. 4 cozy series if you want to check out. We have the Resale Boutique Mysteries and the Food Blogger Mysteries by Deborah Senfelder. We have the Cheese Shop Mysteries by Avery Ames and the Italian Chef Mystery Series by Catherine Bruns. So, haven't read any of them, but I'm looking forward to them. So that's all I got for books, but I do have stuff for movies/TV. So what do you got for TV/movies?
My husband and I watched a movie called True Story. He actually found the movie. I had actually listened to the book.
Okay.
And why are you smiling like that?
Nothing. I was thinking a different movie, and it's not the same one, and I was just smiling to see how you thought of it, but this is a different thing.
Okay. So, True Story is based on a true story. It's a really short synopsis. This is what it's about. New York Times journalist Michael Finkel which is played by Jonah Hill, loses his job when it's revealed that he was not entirely truthful in a cover story he wrote on contemporary slave trading in Africa. His world collapses even further when he learns he's a victim of identity theft. A man named Christian Longo, played by James Franco, assumed Finkel's name and stood accused of murdering his own family. Seeing a way to rebuild his shattered reputation, Finkel meets with Longo to hear his story.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it was. The book I remember liking.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the movie. And it was funny because, like, even both with the book and the movie, because obviously I was left with a lot of questions. Like, because I don't feel like it ever really tied up nicely, which is nobody's fault because this is based on a true story.
Yeah, and life
But essentially, it was the way that it ended, and this is not really giving anything away, is that you're not really left knowing if Michael Finkel, the true Michael Finkel, was kind of strung along by Christian Longo, or if Christian Longo was genuine.
Okay.
I don't think that gives anything away, but that was kind of one of my only frustrations is, like, you want to know, like, you want a definite answer of, like, this is how it ends, and it just was like, okay, so was he being a dickhead, or, like, manipulating him,
or was that for real?
Yeah, and with the end of the movie, there was some, like, credits and whatever, and it was saying that Finkel still talks to Christian Longo, like, once a month. Or something, or once a week, something like that, on Sundays for an hour. So it was very good.
I mean, with life is never
right, and that's the thing. It's based on a true story, so that's just how it played out.
The reason I was smiling, I was thinking True Romance, not True Story, and True Romance is a Quentin Tarantino movie, and that one has Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette in it. And I was just smiling because I thought maybe you had, like, watched another good movie in your life. But I'm like, whatever. We're going to have a Quentin Tarantino, like, marathon. Even though I won't get into him personally. But, yeah. Yeah, that's a thing. So one of I have one movie. All the rest are TV shows. Anna and the Apocalypse. It's on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, check it out. It is a musical. It takes place at Christmas time, and it has zombies. So, yeah, it's fun. I'm not a zombie person. Our other part of our books don't review themselves, Scott, he loves zombie and apocalyptic. I have never gotten into zombies and apocalyptic. I feel like this will be, some people watch A Christmas Story every Christmas, or Shitter's Full movie every Christmas,
I love that movie.
It's never National Lampoon's. It's always Shitter's Full. I think Anna and the Apocalypse might be my Christmas movie from now on. I haven't listened to the soundtrack yet, but I feel like I'm going to start learning those songs and just randomly singing them because they have a lot to do with life. So that's good. It has a positive message even among all the carnage. And this is a messy movie. It's zombies. People are getting ripped apart. So that is a thing. But it's also a nice movie at the same time. It has good messages, and there's family and coming together, and there's lightheartedness, so I recommend it. Yep, I do. So what else do you got for movies?
I don't think I have any other movies that I have TV shows. I have one other docu-series from Netflix that I watched, and I fell down a rabbit hole with.
Oh, God.
Guys, I watched Surviving R. Kelly.
Oh, my God. Oh, I'm touching my forehead in pain. Oh,
that man is so incredibly fucked up, guys.
Narcissistic and
And here's the thing. I was really young. I must have been when he was, like, super big. Because, like, there are some songs of his that I like, okay? And I know he had, like...
I believe I can fly.
I know he had, like, some sort of charges or whatever, but I didn't know the extent of it.
Oh, my God, yeah. I mean, peeing on people, you know, that's just
I didn't know that.
Start. That's just the start.
I didn't know that. I just like the only thing I knew really, and I guess I didn't take the time to research it, was that I thought he had some like child porn, but the child porn was the fact that he was videotaping him and a teenage girl that was like 15 or 16.
Okay,
when he was
that's child porn,
right?
How old was he?
I don't know.
Okay,
he was too old to be having sex with a 15-year-old. I'm not disputing that at all, but I thought it was of
like an 8-year-old.
Yes,
like Michael Jackson nasty.
Yes, this first came up when I found out that he was being indicted in Chicago. And I watched on YouTube his interview with Gayle King where he basically loses his shit and he's like, they're fucking lying on me, you know? And it's like, dude, that is so many fucking women who have very
detailed,
imaginative things if they're lying on you. So I saw that. And I don't know what prompted me to watch this. Like, I was home by myself. I was working on some, like, social media stuff for our podcast. And I was like, I always like to watch something when I'm doing that. So I was like, well, I want to watch something that I can kind of, like, listen to and pay attention to. But I don't have to be, like, super, you know, in-depth watching. So I was like, oh, I've heard things about this. I'll watch it. Like, after the first episode, my laptop, like, went away.
You're like, I am invested in this shit now.
And there's so many stories. One that sticks out to me that I didn't realize, like, how manipulative and sick was they brought one of the women back to the house that she was in. And her room was painted all black. Everything was all black and black shades and whatever. And I'm like, can I imagine being...
I mean, that's worse than prison, you know?
Right. Like, prison, there are studies on what colors they'll paint prisons.
To calm you down.
Right.
And, yeah.
So I'm like, what would it be like to be in a just completely black room? His fucking wife. Like, I feel horrible. Like, there was one time where, like, R. Kelly was on the couch with this girl, and they were, like, watching TV or something, and this girl hears a knock, and she's like, she kept hearing this knock, and she's like, are you going to answer that? And he apparently was like, yeah. And it was his wife who was like, open the door, and she's like, do you mind, can I get some food?
So was his wife still living with him?
Yeah. Like, these women, like, some of them are, I would say some of them, I mean, obviously... Early on, they're brainwashed, obviously. But I don't know, and it talks about it a little bit, but I don't know what extent they're there beyond their will at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
He's not shackling them down in the basement, but at the same time, if they have no other place to go and they've been brainwashed and they don't have the resources to go elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is... there was 2 sets of parents trying to get a hold of their kids, and they have not heard from their kids in 3 years.
Oh my god.
It's very weird. It's very weird because, like, it's not like you said. I don't know if they're tied or shackled, and I don't think they are. I don't recall any of that being brought up, and it seems like some of them want to leave, but they don't. And I don't know what threats of violence there are or anything like that. So it's like, I don't really know why they don't, because some of them do have family that's looking for them. It's not like he's necessarily choosing.
And the thing too, besides, you know, maybe he is doing threats of violence or killing his family, killing their family or killing her or whoever. But I mean, who knows with addiction too? He could have, you know, drugs, alcohol.
Right.
That's a way to keep control of people too. It's just effed up.
It's very effed up.
All right. Well, I have some nicer things here in regards to TV. My first one is Perfect Harmony. It just started this fall. As much as I like darkness and death and mayhem, this is nice and sweet. It's a church group and they sing and they have relationships, you know, together, not sexual, but just, you know, friends and family, blah, blah, blah. It's very sweet. Every episode I laugh, and I enjoy the actors in it. I'm sure if you see them, you would know their names. I'm horrible with names, but I think one was actually in Pitch Perfect. I think she was one of the ladies in there. My other show that's very nice is Single Parents. This is season 2. I highly recommend this show, even if you do not have children. I laugh every episode. It is very good. Another one that is, it's a teen drama, and it's on the CW, so do with what you will. Actually, these next 2 are. It's Legacies. I think this is season 2 or maybe season 3 of it. It's a spin-off of Vampire Diaries. And then they spun off into the originals. And then this spun off from both of those. So the reason I enjoy it, the teen drama is teen drama. And sometimes it can, be a bit much. I don't mind the mean girl teen drama. It's the relationship teen drama that sometimes I'm like, dear God, I don't need this. But it's part of the show, so it is what it is. But the reason I enjoy it so much is because it kind of has the monster of the week feel, which Supernatural used to have, which is why I loved it so much, which they no longer really do have. So that's why I was drawn to that. And talking about Supernatural, it's not on my list. This is season 15.
Jared Padalecki going to jail.
Yes. Let me get to that in a second. So season 15, this is the last season. I think it should have ended around maybe season 8 or 9, but that's just me personally. But yeah, Spiro's Facebook messaged me that with him going to jail. So
apparently in a drunken rage or what?
He was at a bar he owned or nightclub or whatever, and he was having disagreements with staff. And when I saw this, I'm just like, dude, okay, so they're probably done filming for Supernatural, I imagine, since the last season has started. But it's like, you just finished this show and, you're maybe going to be being offered new shows or movie things. You don't want to be doing this, right when your career life is changing. But maybe that's why he is doing it, because he can't handle it. And he's like,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I saw that and I was like, Moose, oh, you silly man, you. So that made me laugh.
Yeah.
I got Nancy Drew on there too, and that's also a CW show, so do with what you will with that. I'm enjoying it. I never really read the old Nancy Drew ones. I read the ones from maybe the 80s, and they were fine. I never really got into the series. I wasn't like a hardcore Nancy Drew follower. This one, I'm enjoying it. It has a really huge supernatural twist to it. It's a mystery, obviously, but I thought it was going to be, I didn't think it was going to be supernatural, which I'm enjoying fine. But a lot of people, I'm in a lot of cozy mystery groups, and, there's people who are my age or older, so 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, and they grew up with, the original Nancy Drew, and they're not enjoying this new series because, first of all, it's sexualized. It's on the CW. Plus, we're in 2019.
Right.
So this era is more sexualized than, the 50s or 60s or whatever. The other thing that really stood out to me that people were complaining about were Nancy is really disrespectful to her father. And like I said, since I had read the books, but I wasn't a devout follower, I don't remember that from the books. And I'm not saying children should be disrespectful to their parents, but it's a thing, so I guess if you're a hardcore Nancy Drew person, you might not enjoy this, but
it's like Nancy Drew with a twist.
Exactly.
It's not like the old nostalgic.
No. And I'm fine with that. Nostalgia has a time and place, but new things are good as well. Change is good. And then, of course, I have to mention Letterkenny, because I said every roundup, I will mention it. The latest season is out on Hulu. I think it's 6 episodes. It wasn't that good. I was really sad. Spiro said the same thing. Other people we've talked to have been like, yeah, it wasn't that good. And I think the reason why is they did a lot of touring this past summer. And I think maybe that affected their show. They were so busy with the touring, which is good, for them because they're making money and getting more well known. But I think their latest season suffered because of it. So that makes me sad inside. But it is what it is. Do you have any other TV shows or anything?
You're going to laugh at me.
Oh, dear God. What is it?
So my husband and I really enjoy watching 90 Day Fiancé on TLC.
How can we be friends? What
It's
the
so
hell?
good.
Oh, my God.
And then there's another show on TLC called Unexpected.
So you don't know you're having a baby?
No, they know.
Okay.
But it's basically teenage. It's kind of like Teen Mom, but I like it way better than Teen Mom.
They're not as white trashy?
Yes. They're
Okay.
just like normal teenagers that got pregnant. And I really enjoyed that.
So Unexpected, like they know they're having the baby.
Right.
Okay. But it was unexpected.
Yes.
Okay.
So watch that.
God.
I
Oh,
don't
God.
necessarily choose to watch this, but my husband really enjoys it. And I end up watching a lot of Gold Rush.
Oh my God.
I end up watching a lot of Gold Rush,
Uh-huh.
a lot of, because they have Gold Rush, and then after, like, you watch your hour of Gold Rush, they have, like, I don't know what it's called, but basically where they're digging for gold in water. And then after that, there's now something where they're looking for opal.
I feel like we need to find you a hobby.
Gold Rush, I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't mind Gold Rush. And the water one is okay. The opal one that we kind of looked at, that's why we were up till like 11 last
Oh my
night,
God.
was
Uh-huh.
But yes, I really enjoy 90 Day Fiancé, and so does Josh. And I think it's, people say, oh, it's kind of like watching a car accident. Like, you know, like you kind of
Can't
have,
look away.
and in some aspects it is, because some of these people, like, I have a secret that I hope they don't, you know, whatever. And it's just like,
What is the secret? Tell me one of the stupid secrets. They
they
have 5 children.
No. So there's 90 Day Fiancé,
Mm-hmm.
Happily Ever After, and then Before the 90 Days. It's a whole thing.
Oh, are these 3 different shows? Or?
Yes.
Oh my
They're this.
God.
They're all. So here's the thing. There's Before the 90 Days, which has like a certain, each season has like certain people that they're following before they enter into the K1 visa.
Okay.
Then 90 Day Fiancé is when they do enter the K1 visa process. And then after the 90 days is kind of like, you know, after what happens after.
Oh, so these are also people from out of the country, too?
That's what 90 Day Fiancé is.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just, I mean, I don't know what I thought because I've never thought of this before.
So,
But I just
okay,
figured
I
it
guess
was, like,
maybe
2
I should
people.
explain this. So 90 Day Fiancé is about the K1 visa process. What the K1 visa process is if, like, that's how my mom came here.
So my question is, these people actually really want to be together. This
Yes.
is not a TV show that just found 2 random people
Right.
and said in 90 days
No,
you're gonna be
you're
married.
thinking of Married at First Sight,
Oh, dear God.
which can be enjoyable.
No. Okay, I'm more fine with the 90-day
Yes.
visa people because this is a look into how stupid our government can be.
To an extent.
Mm-hmm. But,
Because,
oh my God.
first of all, my mom actually came to the U.S. on a K1 visa. So basically what happens is you have to apply for it, you have to be approved for it, and then within 90 days of your spouse entering the U.S., you need to be married,
Mhm.
legally married. So
what happens if you're not legally married?
they get sent back.
Or you hide and become undocumented and don't get sent back?
That, I guess,
Happens
too,
too.
but
Okay.
that's got to be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, a couple where she's from here, she has a son, and her now husband is from South Africa. And she was going to move to South Africa, and she did for a little bit with her son, but it was just very unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
And so she wants to be back in the U.S., and they're expecting. There's another one. She's like, it's so funny. Her name's Angela. She's like 50-some, maybe 60-some, from the South. Very, very Southern.
Mm-hmm.
Very Southern, like.
Mm-hmm.
Very,
Y'all. Mm-hmm.
Very. And she is dating Michael from Nigeria.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
he's like 20. And
Oh my God.
there's
Oh
one
my
part in the
God.
show because it's very important for his, and that's the other thing that I really find interesting is not just like the drama and whatever, but like how they expect these major culture differences
Mm-hmm.
to work. So, like in Nigeria, it's very important for him to have a child.
Mm-hmm.
And if his wife can't, it's acceptable in their culture for him to have sex with another woman
Mm-hmm.
to have a child.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Michael, don't you, what, you think you're gonna fuck some bitch? That's like, it's so funny. And then she asked her daughter for an
egg.
And she's like, something, what did she say? Something about, like, I can't make them, but I can tote them. And I laughed so fucking hard. Oh, yeah. So that's a fun couple.
I'm not judging you. I'm judging the show. Okay, continue.
That's a fun couple. And then, like, there's all different love stories. Like, one that I really like is Alexi. He's from Greek. And she is, I can't think of her name, Lauren. She's from Florida. She met Alexi while doing, like, a mission trip or something. Yes, he's from Israel. Right? That's where, like, the Bible and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's from Israel.
Greece, Israel, you know, not the same, but, okay, so Israel.
So he's from Israel. She met him on this trip, and then they kind of developed a relationship and whatever. Where a lot of these people just met online, and they only know each other through, like, phone conversations and Skype and whatever. And when they become engaged is when they meet the first time.
I can't. Oh my God.
So some of these people, it's like, okay, they had a actual, like,
relationship
yeah. Where, like, okay, this person visited when they could and whatever. But it's very, there's another one that was really funny. I can't think of their names. I know the girl's name is Akini, and I think she's from, like, Africa. And this guy is from the States, and he has a child, and he is divorced and doesn't have a whole lot of money, and he is just clearly he's very white, very fucking awkward, and, like, in Akini's culture, like, her dad is, like, a preacher and stuff, so he's very, like, you have to, like, ask for permission, you have to bring offerings, and, like, there's just very strict rules and whatever. And it's so funny to watch him, like, fumble and sweat and whatever, because I'm just like, and I'm kind of laughing too because she doesn't totally disclose everything. Like, when he goes through the process of, like, asking for her hand and stuff and brings the offerings, she did not tell him until 24 hours before he was going to do this. And there's, like, a bride price that at that point they're considered married. Oh. So he's like, what? Oh. Like, here he thought this was an engagement. Oh, no. No, man. You're considered married in this culture.
Oh, dear God.
So it's just interesting to see the different cultures. So one of the secrets was this other chick. She's, like, a private investigator or whatever. And she's still legally married to her ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband, who she brought from Tunisia. And she's now dating this other guy, and I don't think he's not from Tunisia, but from I hate saying a similar country, but I think it's a bordering country. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. So
obviously she has a type/issues. Okay.
And he's also younger, and he genuinely seems like he really, really likes her and stuff. But she didn't tell him, because, like, in their culture, they cannot have sex before marriage, and they did. And so he was kind of okay with breaking that rule, but his parents could not
imagine
find out.
That. A young man being okay with having sex before marriage.
And she didn't tell, and, like, seeing someone, because she was over.
I mean, how could she even get married? Because your divorce is not going to be finalized in 90 days, you know?
Right.
That's kind of a big thing.
Well, it kind of depends what state you're in, too. Because some states don't have the waiting period and stuff. Like, Wisconsin has a waiting period, so I think it's, like...
Isn't it a year or something?
No, it's, like, 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
But the thing is that Zied is the gentleman. He clearly seems to really like Rebecca, and she didn't tell Zied that she was married. And there were a couple episodes where they were a little rocky because she's over there visiting. And, like... She didn't realize he didn't have a driver's license, so she had to rent a car and drive. And there's, like, not, like, normal roads. It's just, like, a bunch of cars with, like, whoever can get first. There was one time where they went out to go, it was, like, hookah, and she was wearing like a tank top, and she has tattoos and like a leather jacket, and he was pissed. He was pissed about it because he said other men are going to look at you type situation. And she's like, no, like, this is like, I've never seen, like, this is the first time he's seen his controlling side. And it's like, it's not necessarily him being controlling. Like, yes, he's being...
That's how he was raised.
Yes, that's his culture. This is unacceptable in his culture. This is not him trying to be a dick. But to you, it is coming off that he's a dick. But this is a cultural difference.
Oh my God.
And so that was like one of the things. But she has not told him that she's still legally married. And she's like, I just don't know how he's going to react because he slept with a married woman.
See, the thing that gets me here, this is why I do not like reality shows, is because these are people. These are people who have emotions, who have lives. And these producers and cameramen and all the other grips and blah, blah, blah know what is going on. And they're just letting it go on. And no, that's not right. You're fucking with someone's life. You know? I mean, this is a big deal. And especially coming from another country. And
I mean, I guess the way that I look at it is that it is real life. Like, that's how people are. But they're putting
them in a situation.
But they know what they're signing up for.
That could be changed, though. I mean, these people could be like, hey, she's still married. You might want to discuss this. But instead they don't, so they can have the drama for the show. No. You don't fuck with people's lives like that.
You know what you're signing up for when you, sign up for reality TV.
But you yourself just said they're from different cultures. He doesn't know what he's signing up for. He doesn't know that.
And that's kind of what I would like to see how that comes about, like how you apply for that process.
And even if they do tell you straight out everything, there's still cultural differences. There's still language differences. No. No.
I don't know. I guess I don't see as big of an issue with it.
You know what they're waiting for? They're waiting for the first person to kill someone. That's like totally that's like, I feel like their ultimate goal is to see when people start killing each other in reality shows.
No, because a lot of these people now, like, they follow them, like, after the 90 days, and a lot of them, like...
Oh, not necessarily 90 days, but, like, other shows, like The Bachelors and shit like that.
Oh, I don't really enjoy The Bachelor as much, because it's just not reality to me. Like, I believe, like, okay, they really are going through the rose ceremony and stuff, but it's like, you don't fall in love with someone... Like, I can fall in love with anybody on a fucking island. Sorry. Like, if I'm on vacation in Tahiti and, like, being fanned and going horseback riding, I could fall in love with you. But when I come home and we have to, like, do taxes and stuff, like, might not love you anymore. But so then they have this other thing now with 90 Day Fiancé called Pillow Talk, which it's after the latest episode, and it's other couples of 90 Day Fiancé watching the episode and like commenting on it and stuff. And I love that. Josh loves that so much because they're so fucking funny, and a lot of them are just like, what? And it's so good. So good. Love 90 Day Fiancé.
So if you like reality TV show, obviously
90 Day Fiancé
is your bestie, and if you like supernatural trash, I'm your bestie. So,
and it's not that I don't like that stuff either.
Yeah.
But 90 Day Fiancé kind of got me hooked. For a while there, I did enjoy Sister Wives, and then it just got really fucking weird.
Oh my God.
I liked it because I felt I've never known anybody like that, so kind of like watching the dynamics, and it's like, okay, so how does he figure out who he's sleeping with?
There's a schedule.
And just so after probably a few seasons, I was like, okay, and then I watched The Duggars like once or twice, like not on a consistent basis. I don't like that show. Well, it's not on anymore, but
I watched one episode. I don't even know why.
Probably because it's just kind of interesting to see how the fuck a family operates with 19 kids.
No, I mean, I had to have been someplace where it was turned on because I wouldn't have turned it on myself. But, the thing that stuck out to me was their laundry. And they had like 2 or 3 ladies like come in and help them with laundry and stuff. And they had like, I don't know, 3, 6 washing machines and dryers and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, that makes sense, you know, and I like doing laundry, so I was interested in that.
But I can't really think of anything. I don't seem to watch a whole lot of TV because we had and we canceled Dish, and now we just have Netflix, and then we have AT&T, so we get 30 free channels from DirecTV, so we can still, you know.
Are you guys getting that Disney Plus thing?
I was just going to ask what your thoughts were on Disney Plus. Everyone's talking about Disney Plus. We need to talk about Disney Plus. I want to because couple reasons. A, my stepdaughter will enjoy it. We will enjoy it, I think. And I think a lot of stuff that's Disney or Pixar related is going to be coming off Netflix. I think a lot of newer stuff will be on there. But from my understanding, there's a lot on Disney Plus. It's not just Disney and Pixar, which I enjoy watching some of that stuff. But I think part of it, too, it will be the nostalgia.
That's what everyone's going for. DuckTales and all that other stuff.
Well, I saw a couple of my friends, like, remember, and this was brought up by my coworker, too, is that because she got Disney Plus, and she was saying that, like, Smart House from Disney Channel. And I'm like, you know what it is? And she's like, well, I didn't watch it, but she's like, I have kids that are not far from your age, so I recall it being on TV, which I brought up Smart House when we were reading Turn of the Key.
You did?
And it's a thing, so it's on Disney Plus. And I was like, oh my God. And there was just some of those different Disney movies that, like Luck of the Irish, and my brother and I loved, and it's so funny. My brother and I loved this movie called Motocross, and it was about these twins, and one's a boy, one's a girl, and he was a motocross, and, like, the dad just really wouldn't let her do it as competitive as the son.
Because she's a girl.
Yeah. And so her brother got hurt, so she fucking cut her hair and went and did these big races and shit and won. And then that's, like, you know, so it's so funny to think that I really enjoyed that movie, but I didn't
realize.
Yeah, the undertone to it. And so, yeah, I think we'll probably do it, or at least try it. I mean, for what, $7 or whatever. And since we're not paying for cable or anything, you know, and we're still on the fence of doing like Hulu or like YouTube TV or something like that. I don't know that I'm as interested as in getting Hulu. I mean, we still get to see pretty much what we want to see, but I don't spend a lot of time watching TV anymore. It's if I do, it's like Netflix, you know. Yeah. Do you think?
I will not be getting Disney Plus.
Isn't there a lot of Marvel stuff though?
There is, and Spiros wanted it for that, but I said no. Because I'm like, I mean, there are ones that will only be on Disney Plus, but we have 3 movies in our DVD collection. We are not people who watch things over and over again. So, you know, when the big blockbusters come out, like Black Panther or whatever, we'll go to the movie theater and we'll watch it and our life goes on. We don't have children, so we don't need that. I am not a huge nostalgic person. I have never been that way when it comes to cartoons. I shouldn't say I am nostalgic for some things, but not cartoons. You know, I don't need to watch all the DuckTales again and so on and so forth, or the Gummy Bears or the Smurfs or whatever. So yeah, I have no desire to get it. Nope, I'm good. Yeah, I'll stick with my Hulu and my Netflix. And
and people, like, some people will stay up until midnight until it became available and stuff. Like, it was a big thing. It's
insane. I'm just like...
And to be fair, I didn't realize how much was going to be on it. Like, I thought it was just going to be solely Disney, and my coworker was saying, like, National Geographic stuff, and, like, there's quite a
I think they have, like, 5 different things, you know, besides just Disney.
Yeah, so...
And I saw the National Geographic, and I laughed, because I'm like... I mean, not that Disney isn't wholesome, because it is, but it also... You have, you know, situations like the motocross where, you know, girls aren't able to do things, but then they are at the end. But when I saw the National Geographic, I'm like, oh, so they need something, like, wholesome to go with it. I don't know, but that just made me laugh. But yeah, I have no desire to get it. It seems like everyone else is. Great for them. Hope y'all enjoy it. I won't be getting that. So yeah. Sweet. Okay, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Buy Disney Plus. Awesome. Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye.